For about 2 months, I have been using Windows 11 ever since it launched, and I have been using it on my only PC and my primary laptop. I do not have any other second device, so I think my review of Windows 11 will help you better than most other reviewers who have like 10, 9 kind of machines and they have just installed Windows 11, used it for a day or two, and are giving you their review without using it as their main device, which most of you will be doing. So first off, as you can see here, instead of that entire side panel that you saw earlier, here you have a new kind of settings, and this kind of resembles tablet or say mobile UI. And as you can see here, there are different options here, and you can modify brightness and sound from here. And one thing that you note, if you kind of just browse your mouse here, hover your mouse here and just scroll up or down, it will automatically increase or decrease, and this is enabled for both brightness and volume. In earlier builds it was enabled only for the volume. And here is where your calendar and notifications is. So it kind of looks sleek in my personal opinion. And from here you have this task view, as you can see here, and do note that it also has that Windows whatever was that, I think Windows Office Teams and that kind of stuff. I removed it because I found it really annoying because it ran every time I turned on the laptop, so I have removed that. And here is the widget. This basically tells you the temperature, and according to your interests it will show you all kind of stories and etc. But I had disabled it as well because I found it annoying, and I think this is just Microsoft's way of pushing the Edge browser and their Bing services to us, and personally I didn't find it much use, so I just hid it away. And this thing also I did not like it. And one weird thing I have noticed is that this line has propped up here. I don't know what this is for, and this is the first time I have seen it, so I don't know the reason. And one great thing is that, as you can see here, currently I'm using the mic on my laptop, so just like newer Android and iOS versions, it is showing you a microphone icon here, but there is no indication for the camera use, but that will be indicated maybe by your camera light or something like that. I think Microsoft is relying on that. And let's jump into the settings. And as you can see here, you find the settings, and first of all let's go into the start menu. So as you can see here, this is the start menu, and this is basically where you find all your stuff. And they have actually pinned all this bloatware, Netflix, Instagram. I mean, who uses this? I mostly prefer the web version of Netflix, but here they have pinned Twitter, etc. So basically they are getting paid to push this bloatware on you, so you should probably remove the stuff that you do not need, like Instagram, etc. But I kept it on here so that you can see what kind of stuff is installed right after Windows 11. And initially I'm just talking about the features, but then I'll talk about the stability and that kind of things, and these are more of the things that you will notice the most, so I'm quickly going through them. And as you can see here, and Microsoft has also said that Windows 11 is the best ever OS for gaming or something like that. So I don't know if they are just promoting that to compete with Steam's new Linux based system for gaming or not, but here it is. And here you have HDR settings. So basically, as you can see here, most of these settings you would have already seen, and they have just been adjusted, and there are a few minor UI tweaks here and there. And as you can see here, there's also an overhaul of all these icons here, so that's pretty cool. And here you have Bluetooth and devices, etc. And do note that I kind of installed Windows 11 3 times on the same system, so let me tell you why. So the first reason that I did was because I was having trouble with the Bluetooth, as well as I was having trouble with USB storage devices. So some USB devices were working fine, others were not working fine. So instead of resetting from within Windows 11, I went back and reinstalled Windows 10. And do know that this is very important, if you want to reinstall Windows 10, you do not like Windows 11, you will have to either roll back within 10 days. There's an option for that. I think it is called something like restore or something. Let me see. Yeah, so here's the option. So you can use this go back option only within 10 days, but if you like after 10 days you will you'll be stuck on the system, and you'll have to create a bootable installation media of the Windows 10 using a pen drive, etc. So I can make a video on that. If you are interested, let me know in the comments. But basically it is a long process, and you will have to kind of wipe your whole drive that contains the OS. At least that's what I found when I googled, and that's what I experienced. And that's that. So it was kind of an annoying process. So I went through that, and after installing Windows 10, I checked Bluetooth and checked my USB devices. They worked fine. So I again upgraded to Windows 11 and to the same version on which I reset. So it's not like it got another update and I waited for that update, but on the same version it worked. So basically, if you are having issues with Windows 11, a reset might be worth your while. And after that, I again reset because I was having some issues with my printer, and I thought that was due to USB issues of Windows 11 or something like that. But later I learned, because printers have been made to make our life hell, it was the printer's issue and not Windows fault this time. But previous time definitely it was Windows 11's fault, because a different USB pen drives were not working, printer was not working properly. So be aware of that. And okay, so I had forgotten about the settings, and here is where they have changed some stuff. So basically here you find some themes, as you can see here. So basically they change your wallpaper and kind of the whole look of your device. And one great thing, I think this is a really useful thing, because generally I connect my laptop to the TV and just sit back on the couch, but the previous on-screen keyboard kind of sucked, and you had to pin it here or you would have difficulty finding it. But right now you can just go to the taskbar settings. Here you can enable or disable this kind of stuff. So I disabled this chat feature because I mean, I don't know, I don't like this. Who uses this? So here you go, and here you have some options like pen menu. So my laptop does not support any pen or etc. And as you will notice that this particular Windows 11 is kind of focused a lot on touchscreen. Like it has been designed in such a way that it is easier to hit targets on a touchscreen device, and I think that is what they are trying to do. And as you can see here, you can enable on-screen keyboard here, and here is where, so you would think that it looks similar, but it's kind of different. So here is the default one, and this is the traditional one that you used to see earlier. It's similar to that, and this is the small one. So as you can see here, this is very similar to the ones you get on your phone. And apart from that, but you also have the option for split, but I basically use this one, default one. So as you can see, the split one is basically when you're holding the device in your hands, so it is targeted a lot on touch users. So if you have a touchscreen device, I think you will really enjoy this particular version. And you can have virtual touchpad icon or something like that, I don't know what it uses. And here you can enable or disable. As you can see here, I turned off, so Dragon Center disappeared from here, but if I turn it on, it goes here. But if I disable it, it will stay hidden here, as you can see here. And as you can see, this annoying Microsoft Teams always remains here. So I'll just nuke it. All right. As you can see here, and you have different taskbar behaviors. And one important thing, if you used to customize your taskbar and move it around a lot, this will be kind of annoying for you. As you can see here, you can move this to the left, so that's nice. I'm still undecided whether I want to keep it on the left or right, because I think I'm getting used to it on the center, but there's the option of moving it to the left. And you can automatically hide the taskbar when you're not using it. This is the old feature. And as you can see here, so basically you have so the problem is you cannot move your taskbar from the bottom of the device to top or on the left or right. So a lot of people used to do that, but that is no more an option on Windows 11. So if you find that really annoying, you would be better off staying on Windows 10. Alright, so right now I have given you a general overview of the stuff, and now let's talk about my experience on Windows 11. So first of all, the required specifications on Windows 11 are definitely higher. The minimum required specifications are higher on Windows 11 than Windows 10, but to be honest, I feel that Windows 11 is smoother and definitely at least not slower than Windows 10. It may be due to different UI navigations, like you can see this animation. So as you can see here, the animations are pretty cool, not drastically different, but they are pretty cool. And apart from that, you have some other stuff. Let's go under the settings section. And one thing I really liked was, I don't know if this is something that you generally have or not. So basically, if I'm muted, all right, and I decrease the volume, it stays muted. But on Windows 10, what used to happen was that when it was muted and say I decrease the volume and say it was at 48, I muted, and when I would decrease the volume, it would go to 46 and unmute itself. Interface looks a lot better now. Here you can pin your apps whatever way you like. So it is basically great for multitasking, and I absolutely love this feature. And this is the one feature that I think had been missing. So let's just say you are making notes on the right side, and on the left you can play the video. But for some weird reason, almost all apps that I've tried so far support this feature, but Firefox does not support this feature. So I don't know what is going on here, why it is not supporting, but it is really weird. Overall, the settings menu has completely changed. And one other thing that I really liked, and as you can see here, you have a few fonts. It has become basically more easier to customize your experience. And as you can see here, it has even customized the battery settings, and it gives you more detailed info, and you can just disable the battery saver settings forever. And this is something I want to emphasize on: update all your drivers to the latest version that is available, otherwise you may run into green screen of death. And another annoying thing was that you're right clicking on something and all the options are not present here. So then you go to show more options. I mean, you are definitely making the menu look a lot cleaner, but I wish they just included all the relevant options here itself. I like the new user interface, but you need to avoid this extra step that a person has to take. And even many features have not yet made their way into this build, like Android APK installations isn't present yet, and that will probably roll out in a future update. When you are downloading something, it shows you the progress here at the bottom, as you can see here, the gray bar below Firefox. So in my opinion, that is pretty nice. So about my experience, did I want to go back to Windows 10 at any point of time willingly? No, not at all, because I love the overall UI upgrade of Windows 11, and the whole upgrade, it just feels a lot more polished. And at first I thought that there would be some crashes or something weird like that on Windows 11. It would be unstable because, as many of you might have noticed, Windows 10, which is supposed to be stable, is kind of really unstable. So when I went to the dev channel and downloaded Windows 11, which was supposed to have a lot of issues because it was an insider preview, I was surprised that I wasn't really having issues. But let's talk about issues. So I talked about I think 10-20 people who upgraded to Windows 11. So basically, some people have this bug where you right click. So as you can see, it took kind of 1 or 2 seconds, and there was a slight lag on the first time, not the second and third time. So for some people that lag goes up to 20 seconds as well. So that would be really annoying, but that hasn't really happened to me. But for the first click, it is kind of slow. You have to know that. And on previous versions, I had this bug where, like, I'm using the mouse, but suddenly the screen would become like it has become 5 FPS or something. It would become really slow suddenly for a few seconds and go back. But I haven't had that issue in the recent versions of Windows 11. So I think that bug has been resolved, whatever that was. And apart from that, now if anyone asks me, should I upgrade to Windows 11? My answer is yes, with an asterisk. So why the asterisk? I think you have to be willing. Like I told you, the first time around I had issues with Bluetooth, and yeah, so the issue with Bluetooth actually was that if the Bluetooth remain enabled, okay, I would reboot etc., it would be fine. But if I had turned off the Bluetooth and when I turned it on again, this entire Bluetooth would disappear, and it would disappear from this quick setting and also from the menu. So I would have to restart, and only then Bluetooth would work. But that did not happen after reinstalling Windows 10 and then going back to Windows 11. But doing all this process was a really long thing. First I had to set up Windows Media Creation Tool and that kind of stuff. I had to back up all my stuff, and because USB storage devices were not working, I had to back up my stuff over FTP. So that was a pretty big issue. And if you are someone, you are a professional who relies on your laptop and this is the only machine that you have, then I would say that you have to be careful with Windows 11. It may work great for you, it might not. So as I said, I asked about 10 to 20 people. So about 70% of them were really happy with Windows 11. 20% were kind of not impressed and had some issues, and they went back to Windows 10. And 10% was like, okay, whatever, it is fine, like more or less it is same. So you have to note that you might get unlucky and end up with some issues, so you will have to figure it out by yourself. And if you think you cannot really create, like what is this guy talking about, creating Windows installation file and that sort of thing, if you are really confused by that, I would say you might have to wait a little bit, because if that is not something for you, because that would waste, I think, 2 or 3 of your days if you run into issues and you have not done that before. But if you are able to do that and you are able to follow basic tutorials, then I think you will be fine with Windows 11, even if you run into some sort of issues or something like that. I even installed Windows 11 on my brother's laptop, who is not as tech savvy as me, and he's perfectly happy with it. It was an old Microsoft Surface 4 Pro, and actually it was showing that your laptop might have issues with Windows 11 because it does not meet minimum specifications, but it is running great and there are no performance issues even on that. So I don't think that you have to worry on performance front. There hasn't been any drastic change in terms of performance, like there's a sudden drop in performance or something like that, even in games, etc. So in terms of performance, I'm very happy with Windows 11. So my final take: upgrade to Windows 11, and if you run into issues, you can comment on this video. I'll be happy to help you in case you have any issues, because going back should be pretty easy if you know your way around laptops or computers. If you have any questions about Windows 11, do feel free to ask them in the comment section below from me. I'll be happy to answer you. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked it, click on the like button and also subscribe to my channel for more such videos.